Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. This month, DJ Kool learned that his iconic rap anthem, Let Me Clear My Throat, has finally been certified platinum. He joined me to celebrate the occasion and reflect on growing up in DC to carve out his own piece of hip-hop history. Hey, DJ Kool. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in your hometown of Washington, D.C.
Yes, indeed, man. Like, this is a first for me. Like, who would have thunk that DJ Kool would have ever been on WTOP, man? Like, I grew up listening to WTOP, so this is big for me.
Right, traffic and weather and all the news. I mean, I get to do the fun entertainment stuff, but how is this possible? How have we never had you on before? That's crazy.
I don't know, man. Maybe I was going this way and you guys were going that way, so we finally figured out how to meet it together.
Well, it's awesome. I'm glad we had an occasion to do it, and we should tell everybody why we decided to talk today, because this month, just a couple of week or two ago, your hit song "Let Me Clear My Throat," we all grew up listening to it. That's the soundtrack of our lives. But the song just went platinum, certified platinum. So congrats, my friend. Where were you when you heard the news?
To be perfectly honest with you, I was saying my prayers, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine up in Philadelphia. Shout out to Big Al. And he was like, "Kool, your record just went platinum." I'm like, "Man, get out of here. What are you talking about?" I said, where did you see that at? He said, "Go to the RIAA website." And I did it, and it was right there. And I'm like,
that's a mind-blowing thing. So what do they give you, like one of those big records, in a frame for the wall, or what happens?
Yes, you definitely get a plaque and a bunch of other things that come along with it, like being able to do interviews on WTOP.
You earned that right a while ago. This is overdue as far as I'm concerned. That's so awesome. Well, we'll do a deep dive into the song, obviously, because that's what we're celebrating. But whenever I have, a famous person like yourself, I like to go a little chronologically if possible and tell them your backstory and all that stuff first. So I know you were born here in DC in 1958. John W. Bowman Jr. is the name, the birth name before DJ Kool came about. What part of the city exactly did you grow up? What schools? Our listeners would love to hear exactly where.
I'm from Southeast Washington, D.C. I guess chronologically, as far as my education is concerned, I went to I went to St. Peter's Catholic School. I also went to John Tyler Elementary School. I went to Randall Junior High School and Eastern Senior High School.
Awesome. And what were you listening to at the time? Because, I guess hip hop, we're celebrating 50th anniversary this year, but what was it back then? Was it go-go? Was it early, almost getting into hip hop as you got a little older? Or what would you listen to?
Well, before the go-go thing started, it was a lot of funk music, a lot of disco and R&B, a lot of James Brown and everything. And then when hip hop came along, it was King Tim III, Sugar Hill Gang, Grandmaster Flash, Curtis Blow, and so on and so forth.
Oh, we had Grandmaster Flash and Curtis Blow and MC Light and some of the really early pioneers. They've called in and done interviews before, and it's so fascinating hearing the early days. And I want to hear it from you too, like the early days before hip hop was even mainstream or even on the radio. Like, take me back to when it first bubbled up, like out in the clubs, a lot of call and response to the crowd and just on the ones and twos on the turntables. Like, tell me about your memories of sort of when it was still like an underground thing, just swelling to the surface.
Well, I kind of started right before, like at the tail end of the disco thing, and right when the hip hop thing was starting to come in. I started as a DJ in 1977. So I'm playing a lot of funk, a lot of R&B, some disco, you know what I mean? Just a lot of good dance music. Hip hop started coming along around 1979. Once again, the first single that I heard was a song called King Tim III, Personality Jock, by a funk band called the Fatback Band. Mm-hmm. And they were from the 70s, from New York. And then next thing you know, here comes Sugar Hill Gang with Rapper's Delight, and now we're knee deep into this hip hop thing. And so I guess I could segue into an answer for a question that you were probably about to ask me as far as my earliest influences, musical influences. My earliest musical influence as far as hip hop is concerned was Grandmaster Flash, with Sugar Hill Gang,
Mhm.
but then Grandmaster Flash, and as a DJ. Also, Maniac McLeod was my earliest DJ influence around here. I heard him in 1975. My earliest influence as an MC is concerned was from Melly Mel from Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5. And my earliest influence as far as becoming a go-go music artist is The Godfather, Chuck Brown.
Of course, rest in peace, Chuck Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, those are amazing influences to have, and thanks for giving me the backstory. What clubs are you doing? And I'm sure a lot of them are probably closed now. The DC music scene, the venues have changed so much. But if maybe some of our listeners maybe remember some of them, shout out if you remember some of the names of the old clubs you used to spin at.
Well, I started as a mobile DJ in 1977, and I did that for the first 2 years. Shout out to Dr. Ashton Greaves. He had a company called the Sound Service, and we moved around doing a lot of mobile DJing events. 1979, I had my first opportunity to play in a club that was called the Paragon 2. That was on
Ah,
Carson Avenue in Georgetown.
my parents tell stories
1979.
of going down to the Paragon too and dancing disco and everything. It was like a big deal in Georgetown, wasn't it?
Yes. And so I did the Paragon 2 from 1979 to 1982. I got a call from who I just mentioned, my mentor, Maniac McLeod. He was playing at a club that used to be called The Room, that was on 12th of New York Avenue Northwest. I worked there from 1982 to 1986. The Room closed in 86. I got a call to go to the Classics out there on Allentown Road in Camp Springs. I had a big Monday night thing I did. It was crazy. Then the clubs after that, I did the Ibex, Georgia Avenue Northwest. I did, what was that? The East Side, that was in southeast/southwest part of DC. Triples nightclub, that was in, that was right across from Iverson Mall in, what was that? Temple Hills, Maryland.
Okay.
God, what other clubs, man? Rhythms, that was in Landover. Let me see, the Legends. That was what part of? Well, anybody know where the Legends was? That
Yeah.
was in Maryland as well. We call it Southeast Maryland because it was right on the borderline of Southeast and Maryland.
Right.
Not too far from Triples nightclub, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And then there was a bunch of other clubs. So I actually worked the club system in DC from, let's say, 1979 to 1996. Once
Wow.
upon a time, I was working 7 nights a week between DC and Maryland.
The hardest working man in the biz back then. That's awesome. Well, thanks for dropping some of the names of those clubs. That'll bring you back so much nostalgic memories, I'm sure, for a lot of listeners. Before we get to, your recordings, your albums you started putting out, one final thing about sort of the club scene. Any good stories or memories of anyone that came into your club, like any other famous rappers or musicians or local athletes, any of the old Burgundy and Gold, were there any movers and shakers, politicians that came into any of your shows? Any memories?
Well, if any politicians came in, they were way back in the corner in the dark somewhere because they probably didn't want nobody to know they was in there. But I could talk about one incident in particular that happened one night on a Sunday up at the Ibex. Chuck Brown was performing. I was the DJ for that particular party or what have you. LL Cool J came to the club unannounced.
Whoa.
But they brought him through the back door, so therefore they had to take him up that hellacious fire escape that I used to have to pull my records crates up. We don't even want to get into that part. But anyway, they brought him in the back door and brought him in the DJ booth. Chuck Brown was up there doing a LL Cool J song, I'm Bad.
Yeah.
So I tell LL, I say, yo, man, go up there and rock with Chuck. And he was like, you sure right there? Go ahead, man. It's Chuck. You know what I mean? Chuck is all love. So he went up on the stage. Chuck was looking in the opposite direction. I guess LL came up on his blind side or what have you. So people started screaming. I guess, Pops thought they were screaming for him. So, he's into it. And he looks over. LL Cool J is standing right there.
Wow.
He introduced him. And then Chuck and LL started to do a live version of I'm Bad, and I swear the rest is history. Like, that's out there on the PA tape somewhere, as a matter of fact.
Oh, so it's floating around somewhere. There's a video of it.
Somewhere. Shout out to them people at PA Palace. They probably got it. I can remember another night, I was playing at Triples, and we had go-go that particular night as well. We had the Junkyard Band there. To make a long story short, my guests for that night were Ice Cube and Yo-Yo.
Whoa.
Yo-Yo had her hit single out at the time, You Can't Play With My Yo-Yo. So Junkyard was up there, they getting it going and everything. And once again, I'm telling them, go up there because these bands always cover your music. Ice Cube goes up there and get into his Ice Cube thing. Boy, Yo-Yo up there, and she got into her her hit single at the time. And once again, the rest is history. So I tell people all the time, go. Some of the most powerful music on this planet. Once again, shout out to our godfather, Chuck Brown. That is the music of our city. That is the music. That is one of the things that makes us who we are as far as the culture of this city is concerned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That particular music. So if you hear Go-Go live, I don't care who you are, I could get you in there. And you cannot deny that go-go beat. I'm sorry. Like, I don't care who you are, where you from. Once that drum and percussion start rolling, like, that's it. It's a wrap.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for those stories, man. LL and Ice Cube and Yo-Yo. I mean, come on, that's amazing. All right, so then I guess if we're moving forward, then right after that, then I guess we should tell everyone before you get to Let Me Clear My Throat. That was 96. You had 2 albums even before that, right? The Music Ain't Loud Enough in 90 and 20-Minute Workout in 94. Memories of those early ones before you blew up with Let Me Clear My Throat.
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. The Music Ain't Loud Enough album came out in 1990, but the singles from the album started in 1986, which was, I guess, the title track of that particular project, The Music Ain't Loud Enough. So I had a record, for the most part, somewhere on the Billboard charts, top 100, probably on the lower half, but I was still on there.
Still counts.
From 1986 consecutively, let me get my tongue working properly, consecutively all the way up to 1996, whereas we really cracked the top 20 with Let Me Clear My Throat. So every year I had a single. Music Ain't Loud Enough, How Low Can You Go, What the Hell You Come In Here For, Reggae Dance, a bunch of records, man. I Can Make You Dance, 20-Minute Work, bunch of records, and every record hit the charts somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So we started national 1986. We were the first hip hop artist to come out of this area mixing go-go and hip hop in 1986. And then a lot of artists came after me. Shout out to DC Scorpio, shout out to Stinky Dink, shout out to Fat Rodney, and a host of others.
Bismarck, rest in peace, Biz Markie.
Oh, yes, Biz Markie, yes, indeed. That's another story in itself. Like, you'll never see that again. Biz Markie was like a comet. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? You'll never see that again.
Oh, yeah.
You'll never see that again.
Absolutely. Rest in peace.
Amazing,
Thankfully, he called in. If our listeners want to check out the archives of the podcast, he called in and did a freestyle beatbox of WTOP, the best radio station in all of DC. It was amazing, but it was so sad when we lost Biz. Well, that's cool. Thanks for reminding everybody that you had, you were charting, like you're saying, songs here and there for about a decade, from 86 to 96, leading up to Let Me Clear My Throat. So that brings us to the big song we're here to talk about, because it's just certified platinum. Let Me Clear My Throat. It comes out in 96, the album of the same name. I want to break it down. Let's talk the music of it, the musicology of it first, and then we'll get into sort of the lyrics and your voice on it. But let's start with just the music. I believe it opens with the Kool and the Gang's Hollywood Swing in the dun, 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 dun. And I believe Mace also later used that for, You Make Me Feel So Good, the Bad Boy stuff with Puff Daddy. But anyway, so it opens with that, and then it goes into a sample of the 900 number by 45 King. Take me into sort of the idea to do both of those and put those together. Had you been spinning those records in the clubs and you finally were like, hey, let's put a song? Or I want to know your idea to use them.
Well, definitely the 900 number was something that I was using all the time to kind of bring in like my hip hop set when I'm DJing. That's like my little segue song. First of all, rest in peace. We did recently lose DJ Mark 45 King. And here's a little fun fact. I never got a chance to speak to him.
Really?
I never met him
Man.
out of all these years, and it would have been amazing to meet him like right now. You know what
Right.
I mean? So when I did put up a post on Instagram, a rest in peace post, I said, "And baby, we just went platinum." You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that would be great.
Um,
Yeah. I built didn't he did a lot of songs like Hard Knock Life for Jay-Z. Like he did a ton.
Big records, a lot of big records. He did Stand for Eminem.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of big records. Like a lot of people that really know their hip hop, like from a production standpoint, know that Mark 45 King has like crazy hits out there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
rest in peace to him. Never be another. Um, so I guess we could segue a little bit into the story of how Clear My Throat, I guess, came about.
Yeah.
And I'll try to give you the skinniest version of how that happened as I can. Something I was playing 900 number in a place called a club called Ivory's in Richmond, Virginia. Shout out to Steve Branch, who was the owner at the time. Um, and I was about to say something to the crowd in my DJ MC thing that I do. Something actually got caught in my throat. And so to kind of play off the fact that I was actually up there dying in front of everybody in real time, I I just spontaneously said, "Let me clear my throat," which is a Beastie Boys line.
Right. From License to Ill in 80s in the new style,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
There you go. So, and then the rest of it, the rest of the song just kind of start making itself. The little hammer, say, "Big, hope they don't mind." That's what
Yeah.
I call my Chuck Brown isms and whatnot. So I recorded a song called the 20-minute workout
Yeah.
live at Ivory's. And I actually put a snippet of what later became Let Me Clear My Throat at the end of that recording. The record came out. I got a call from an air personality that was working at a station in Philadelphia at the time.
Okay.
Don Mystic Mac. He was like, "Cool, you got these people in Philly going off on this go-go thing you're doing with this 20-minute workout. But whatever you're doing over that 900 number, boy, these people are losing it. You need to come up here and see it."
Yeah.
So we went there. We checked out this show that they had. It was incredible. Shout out to DJ Rand. He was a DJ for the show. He dropped the snippet of what Let Me Clear My Throat became. 16,000 people stood up in the Core State Center. I got booked to do a show and where we actually did the live recording for Let Me Clear My Throat at, which was a place in Philadelphia called Bahama Bay. Shout out to my manager, Walt Reeder Jr., Big Block Entertainment. That's who got me in that situation. We recorded the song live. Nobody knew that we were doing the live recording, so we got it, the first tape, because basically we were just recording the live performance.
Sure.
And that's like my little method to my madness here when I do these live records. Whereas the 20-minute workout was the very first live recording that I did.
Okay.
And I was cutting Dougie Fresh, I'm getting ready, right, back and forth on the turntables while I'm doing this 20-minute workout routine.
Yeah.
And all I did was mic the room up so you could hear them. And I had my mic in front of me so you can hear me. And I'm going back and forth, cutting this record, doing it live.
Mm.
So
And
all
I mean,
records,
it sounds live. I mean, you can tell it's part of the vibe of the whole thing.
it's about as live as you can get. So 20-minute workout, Let Me Clear My Throat, I Got That Feeling, and a host of other songs are all done live. And matter of fact, that's the only way that I will do records now is live ever since I did 20-minute workout. So
That's
yeah, and
great.
the rest is history, as they say.
I love it. Yeah, you made history with it for sure. And thanks for that story about how I didn't realize it began with you actually like choking a little and saying, "I'm glad you said let me clear my throat." I'm glad you went to the Beastie
choking a
Boys
lot.
instead of it could have been called he's choking, but that's better. It's good you had the wherewithal in that moment. Other than that, how did you come up with the famous part where you go like how do you actually just off the dome?
I coughed. I actually coughed. That was an actual real body function right there that most of us do at least once a day. So a lot of people, when they come up to me and say,
Yeah.
"Ooh, let me clear my throat," I say, make sure you do that at least once a day because you need to clear some things out sometimes. So,
Nice.
yeah, that actually happened like in real time.
That's great. DJ Flem.
Yes.
DJ Hawk. There's so many ways we could go with it, but DJ Kool sounds better. And one more final deep dive on the song. I don't want to, that's the whole reason we're talking today. Went platinum, but the idea to go when I say freeze, you just freeze one time, stop on a dime. Like, do you? Is sort of that call and response with the audience. Obviously, it's live, but do you think that's the magic of the song? Is that you could put it on at any club, anywhere, and people they sort of get to interact with it.
I think it's a combination of things. I think that it is one of the major parts of the record because of the what I like to call the art of call and response, which actually started out in gospel music. If you think way back, you know what I mean,
True.
And also with people like Cab Calloway, hidey, 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 hi, hidey, 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 ho, that type of thing. But yes, call and response, which is a very big part of go-go music as well. So I think that is one of the main parts or ingredients, let's say, of the song that makes it does what it does. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Other than the fact that I use the 900 number as a bed, and to try to answer a question that you asked me earlier about, I guess, the arrangement of the song and why I decided to use the pieces that I use.
Yeah.
The Kool in the Gang part. I just say, okay, this record needs an intro, because I'm all about song arrangement and, and having structure in music and whatnot. That's from my little music theory, class that I took way back. And I said, it needs an intro. So I said, Kool in the Gang, Hollywood swinging. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, Hollywood.
So it needed an intro, so I chose that because I knew that it was automatic. Everybody would know that. Anybody that knows anything about music, let's put it that way, would know that as soon as they hear it. So it was all about creating another instrumental hook, you know what I mean, for the record.
Kool in the Gang it was all Hollywood, but for you made it DC. Like now everyone hears that and they think of DC, not necessarily Hollywood, this generation.
That's right.
So you sort of grabbed it from the West Coast and brought it over here.
Yes.
Did you ever have a talking to with Mace afterwards and say, hey, I just sampled it. Why are you using it again?
Actually, no, that wasn't Mace at all. That was one of his producers from the production team.
Yeah.
That Bad Boy had at the time. That was D Dot.
Okay.
That did that song, but he said, and I heard him say this in an interview. He said that I was the inspiration to use that sample because he heard what I did would let me clear my throat.
Exactly.
So shout out to D Dot rather.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm just joking. Of course, hip hop and all music, really, it's all about samples and borrowing and making something new out of taking, take hits from the 80s and make it sound so crazy as they.
And I want to say something real quick. Speaking of Mace, one time the Bad Boy tour came here. Shout out to Diddy. And he called me and said, look, Kool, I want you to come and rock with us. I want you to get with Mace because what we were going to do was Mace was going to come out and start off with Feel So Good. And then maybe like halfway through the song, he was going to start back over again and segue me into doing Let Me Clear My Throat. The only reason why, and we were supposed to do it at Capital One Arena, the only reason why it didn't happen is because Diddy at the last moment got a hold of DMX. Rest in peace to DMX. And he said, Kool, I want to do this, but it's not going to work out time-wise because I want DMX to rock. I said, man, I want to see DMX too, so let's go. You know what I mean? So I hung out with Mace and Diddy for that show, but I was very, very close to making, I would say, a historical and monumental moment in hip-hop when me and Mace getting together to perform that song using the same samples.
It would have been really,
maybe we'll do it another time, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, he's still around. You could still do it. There's still a chance. Maybe someone listening to this interview will call him up, or maybe you should call him up. He would answer your call. I feel like he would.
He has.
He would.
He has too.
And he has. That's great. All right. So at this point, then you're on the map. Everyone knows it. They're playing this song at everywhere, from clubs to. I mean, man, I heard it at like middle school dances. Like it was played everywhere when it was everywhere. So now you're famous. So then how do you follow it up? Because you did Give Me That Beat in '97, I guess the year after the album. And you had Junkyard Band's The Word with you. You brought speaking of Chuck Brown, Run Joe, you did that, right? With Chuck Brown on that, right? Yeah, just memories of trying to follow up such a huge success and calling in all these favors with all these people you knew. I mean, to make a follow-up record.
Well, to give me that beat, that was a go-go project. Shout out to Becky Marcus and Tom Gofogel. They had a company at the time called Liaison Records, and they were a distributor as well. And they was like, "Cool, we want you to put together a go-go compilation project." And so that's what Give Me That Beat was. That was all about, in my opinion, doing my part to help continue the legacy that Chuck Brown laid down for us as far as go-go music is concerned. But I have had some other singles. See, I have not been signed since, I would say, 97.
Okay.
And a lot of people say, well, man, we thought your record was platinum a long time ago. And it probably was, but I actually got caught up in some record label bureaucracy. Let's say. I guess that would be the correct word to use.
Well, we're from Washington, bureaucracy.
Right, goes hand in hand, right? So anyway, I got caught up in a situation between the label and who was doing distribution for the label. And it got a little bit crazy for me. They set your boy on the shelf with a gold record at the time. And I was like, you know what? That's okay. All things shall pass. You know what I mean? And to make a long story short, yes, I probably was gold. I mean, I'm sorry, platinum back then, because after I signed with American Records, I was gold in 2 months.
Yeah.
We had already sold well over 480-some,000 on a label called CLR Records out of Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to Steve Janis. And we got picked up by American, went gold just like that. But then, you know, the whole bottom fell out. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to keep working.
Yeah.
And going back to what I said earlier, thank God I was put in a position last year to be right there at the RIAA offices with all the bigwigs. And I guess I just had, you know, the foresight, or whatever you want to call it, for lack of a better term, to speak to them about my situation. And they were like, your record been platinum, but we're going to make sure we get the official numbers. And when we do, we'll let you know. So, yeah.
Well, I just want to clarify, because obviously the whole reason we're running this story and the reason we're pegging it to run it on WTOP now is because it's officially platinum. That's like, you know, the newsworthy headline. So explain explain overdue. It sounds like. So explain exactly, if it's possible, like just for my purposes, at least when I write the article, like what exact, if you don't mind, like what sort of bureaucracy or why wasn't the RIAA tallying it until now? Like, I just want to know the specifics.
Because American Records, being the actual company that I was signed to, and Warner Brothers, who were the distributors for American, they just said,
okay.
And I was caught in the middle of it.
I gotcha. So, but they're saying it probably did. It was a platinum seller by how big a hit it was years ago, probably. But now it's finally. So you were out there. You happened to be meeting with them, or you went out there specifically to talk about this?
I was kind of sort of. I was asked to do an event that was being held at the RIAA. They were doing an award ceremony for Grandmaster Flash and MC Light. They were being presented with the Legacy Award. Okay. I was one of the presenters of the Grandmaster Flash segment. I was asked to come in and,
Where's that, LA?
I'm sorry, no, the actual, well, it used to be in LA, but now it's here. The RIAA offices are right here in DC. It's been here for a few years now.
Okay, I guess makes sense.
Downtown DC. I'm sorry.
Makes sense. I said it makes sense. Motion picture associations in DC. I guess they all have their big headquarters here in nation's capital. That makes sense. Well, I'm glad you finally went and talked to him. We need to get you that damn plaque on the wall, man. You're overdue.
We're working on it. We're working on that part. And there are a few other things that we're working on as well that I don't want to speak on right now, but we're definitely working on getting the plaque up on the wall. So.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go.
That's all in the works right now, yes.
There's your teaser. You have to stay tuned to DJ Kool and all the social media and stuff to see what he's teasing there. Hey, real quick, before we run, I saw an interesting fact, and I was like, oh, yeah. We're talking about famous people you work with. Didn't you do a song with the late Macho Man Randy Savage in the early 2000s? Oh, yeah. Dig it.
Shout out to my man Khalid. He's actually from a production company called KO Productions. He's from here, but he lives in Tampa, Florida now. once again, I get a phone call. You know what I mean? Hey, Kool, man. You want to do this song with the Macho Man? I'm like, get out of here! You ain't doing no music with Macho Man. Cause I'm a big Macho Man Randy Savage fan. I
Of
might be
course.
his #1 fan. Rest in peace.
Flying
Exactly.
elbow off the top, of
Oh
course.
my God, this guy was the best. So come to find out that was a real thing. So we went to Tampa, we recorded the record, and here's a fun fact. Macho Man was not too far as a person, like in person or what have you, as his character.
He talks like that actually in real life.
Yeah, and DJ Kool and such and blah 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 and here and that's Hulk Hogan and that was him all day, every day, 24/7. Like that was the actual. So I got a chance after we did the record. We chopped it up, got to know each other. I actually got an opportunity to go on a promotional tour with him across the country. We flying in private jets and we just chopping it up, just having a ball with the Macho Man. It hurt me so bad when I heard that he passed away.
I
But he'll
know.
always be here with us in spirit. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that's so amazing that it's not just a character he portrayed. That you said he talked like that in real life. So
Yes.
were you with the DJ Kool? Uh-huh. Oh yeah, I can't believe it. Oh, damn, rest in peace, man. See,
Yeah.
your music career and your talent has afforded you to meet with some made people from all different realms like that. That's insane. Well, hey, we're talking, I guess I'll pivot out of pro wrestling into sports because you have the Washington Nats hat on there with the curly W. A little bit of a rough season this year compared to before, but yeah, I mean, I think I've seen you come out at Wizards games. Like you're a big local DC fan, but yeah, I mean, do you still follow all the teams? I guess now Commanders, but and the Caps, like all the 4 teams. Like, are you still a fan of all of them?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm DC all day, every day.
Yeah,
And honestly, the reason why I wear this W the way that I do it, it really doesn't have anything to do with baseball, but it has everything to do with the town that I am from that made me who I am, Washington, D.C. I mean, I rep my city, and I'm not asking nobody else to, rep it the way that I do. That's just my thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And once again, the reason why um, I am the way that I am about that is because this is where I'm from, and this is the place that made me who I am. You know what I mean? If I was
yeah,
from somewhere else, then you might have got me. You still would have probably got DJ Kool, but I would have been in a different form. I wouldn't have had this go-go background and everything that I have
yeah.
to go along with this hip hop, background that I have. So it would be a little different. But I'm proud to be from here. You know what I mean? I'm extremely probably to the point of insanity. I don't know. I'm just it's DC or nothing for me, period. And anybody that knows me will tell you that. I'm very serious about that part. All things Chuck Brown. Shout out to my man Mark Ine. I can't even call him the Commanders, but he's one of the part of the ownership group, and he also owns the Washington Castles tennis team that's a part of World Team Tennis League.
Thanks for shouting out the Castles. There's DC United. I said the 4 main sports, but yeah, all the teams. There's all of them. The Mystics, everybody.
The Defenders, watch out for them Defenders. They
Defenders.
almost did it last year.
The DC Defender, they went all the way to the title game, didn't they? And,
Yes,
and were
they
up. They
came
were
this
supposed to win
close.
and got upset. But
I wish some of them were playing for the Commanders. How about that?
yeah, they should bring some of them over actually. Wow, that's awesome. Well, I mean, that's I'm glad that you rep DC. I mean, I'm born and raised in Maryland, so I'm with you. It's all around here. It's all around here. I mean, although I gotta say, I usually rock the O's hat because the Nats weren't here when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And just like the Ravens weren't here, so I was DC football. It's what you grew up with, I guess. But it's all local. It's the DMV, baby.
Well, this W actually comes from the Washington Senators.
Right. Years ago.
Right. I'm telling this dude, he said, no, they wasn't wearing that. I said, bro, obviously you're not old enough.
Yeah.
And he looked to be older than me, God bless him, but he's trying to tell me about this. I said, I used to go to the Senators games as a kid because I lived at that particular time, I lived in walking distance to RFK Stadium.
Right.
We always went to the baseball games. We went to the Skins games and all of this in the 70s. So you're not going to tell me nothing about this curly W. Stop it. I mean, you know what I mean? So I don't know what he was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, fun fact, my grandmother, rest in peace, when she was a baby, sat on Walter Johnson's lap. You know, the Senator's pitcher. It was one of the fun little family facts. And then they played at RFK, the Nats, the first year or two, right?
Yes,
I went to a game
yes,
when they were at,
watch.
yeah, it was funny. The team was, red, white, and blue jerseys, but the seats were burgundy and gold. It was funny that first year.
Right.
But awesome. Hey, you've been generous with your time, and I think Zoom's going to kick us off in like 3 minutes. So before we end it, let's bring it back to hip hop. I always want to know, do you have like who are your goats? Like if you had to put like a Mount Rushmore together, I know that's impossible, but like who are like your hip hop greats?
Well, I guess it's going to be DJ Kool Herc for, I guess, introducing the culture,
Yeah.
even though a lot of people think differently, but that's another story for another time. I'm gonna put Grandmaster Flash. Um, I'll put as a group probably Run DMC
Of course.
because they really, when they came in, they took it to another level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, for me as a group, I'm gonna put Public Enemy.
Oh yeah.
I know you're only supposed to have four, people on the
That's
Mount
okay.
Rushmore, but I'm doing it in a hip hop way now. So
Carve your own mountain. Go for it.
yeah,
Add
right.
whoever you want.
My mountain's pretty big. And then I would say, I don't know, man. So many folks, man. I'm down to, you got to put Jay-Z up there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I like, well,
Rock him up there too.
Rakim. Oh my God. Rakim, his rhymes are amazing. Like some of the best stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a great lineup right there. And who cares? You can do more than four. That's fine.
Right. Man, we have several Mount Rushmores. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Carve them all over.
Right.
Exactly. 50 years worth. You got to have more than just that.
Yeah.
And people you named just like 80s, early 90s. I mean, even since then, there's been so many good ones. So yeah, you'd have to have several mountains, I think.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're over in the corner there. You carved your own little spot out on that mountain, DJ Kool. Did you get the name? You mentioned DJ Kool Herc. Did that sort of inspire the name, or where did the DJ Kool with the K come from?
No, actually, because that comes from my personal sports background. I was a full sport athlete coming up. I played baseball, basketball, football, and ran track.
Gotcha.
My primary sports were basketball and baseball.
Okay.
I was playing organized basketball at the time for the CYO League, and I don't know how far you go back with your sports, but that's the Catholic Youth Organization.
Cool.
Had some good college players come out of that league back in the day. Matter of fact, who was that? Tom Skates. This is way back Georgetown basketball. He was a center, but I remember playing against him when he was playing for St. Anthony's, and I was playing for who was I playing for? Immaculate Conception at the time, or either St. Peter's, one of the two. No, I was playing for St. Peter's at the time. We seen this dude like way bigger than all of us. Like we, 5 footers, and when big Tom Skates come in there, damn near 6'11" as a kid. I'm like, what is this? Why are they gonna have a giant? You know what I mean? So, when I was playing on this, I was playing for the Immaculate Conception at the time, and there was these two cats, Budzo and Jody. Two teammates of mine would always talk about the way that I came down the court because I was a point guard and a shooting guard, so primarily point. I couldn't just come straight down the court with the ball. I had to go behind my back, through my legs, Magic Johnson, all of that. Yeah. So they would say, look at that cool-ass guy. That's like I should have just edited that, but look at that cool guy coming down the court.
What's fine? You can say it. It's fine.
Okay. So anyway, I guess just let people use their imagination and kind of fill in the blanks. Right. So when I became a DJ, I was like, you know what? Cool. Okay, I'll use that as my DJ handle, and I'll spell it with a K instead of a C, and there you go.
Right. K, like, is that like the cigarettes? Wasn't that with a K back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And maybe that's where I got it from, like subconsciously or what have you. I don't know.
Who knows? But hey, we appreciate you taking so much time. I didn't know we were going to talk for, good 40 minutes or whatever, but I really appreciate you taking that. And congrats on Let Me Clear My Throat finally getting certified platinum. Like you say, probably was years ago, but now it's official, right, baby?
Yes. And I'm glad that it happened now with everything going on with the 50th anniversary of hip hop and everything, as opposed to happening 20 plus years ago. Yes, it would have still had some significance now, but not be as significant as it happening right now. You know what I mean? So, God bless.
because now we get to talk about it as we're like examining the historical impact of the genre and all that. And so the timing's great.
And
Uh,
plus, we didn't have stuff like this back then. We didn't have
Yeah.
social media and podcasting and all that kind of stuff back in the 90s. It didn't exist. So
you and I could not have hopped on a Zoom call and talked, from our respective rooms. I mean,
exactly.
So grateful for a lot of things. But thank you for coming on WTOP. That's how we'll end it. I mean, I can't believe that we have not had you on all these years. That is a shame and an oversight, but we're correcting that now.
Yes, right now.
All right. Hey, thank you so much, DJ Kool. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. WTOP, keep it locked, all right?
WTOP. Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.